it's Nat to Illustrious Shadows Plans. As you might be able to tell, today we're doing a slightly different video. This isn't a Hobonichi Weeks, and I won't be doing a plan with me today. If you'd like to watch a plan with me instead, then the playlist is linked up in the top corner. What we're going to be doing today is cataloguing my ink collection and just going through what I have. This is something I've wanted to do for a little while. So I've grabbed an old Archer and Olive notebook that I have here. This is the gorgeous fox cover. I very lightly used this as a bullet journal, very lightly, many moons ago. And what I've already gone and done is I've put this spread down. So this is a really simple spread. First things first though, I just want to let you know, glass dip pens are not my normal style. So I normally use a fountain pen like this, but in order to do this video I'm going to be showing you all the different inks I have, and I don't want to be taking out the converter or the cartridge every time and refilling it. As you can see, we've got 10 boxes here, so that would take me quite a long time. So I'm sure you can appreciate that that is quite a lot of effort. So instead we're just going to use this beautiful glass dip pen that I have. I'll be cleaning it off between uses, and I'll show you the ink in the bottle before we go and start writing with it. So let's get started. So this first one that I've got here is a Ferris wheel press. This is Queen Allium. Immediately in the bottle we can see this is a purple colour and it's got this gorgeous gold sheening in it. So just give it a good shake. I'm sure you're probably not meant to shake them like this, but there we go. So these big bottles have got a little stopper on top of them. So I'm just going to pop in there and just move this around a little. So straight in with the dip. And this is Queen Allium. I grow alliums in my garden and they are one of my favourite plants. So when I saw this ink I was like, I have to have this. So a Ferris wheel press. Base is a violet. The sheen is kind of a gold. It's got a gold shimmer, and I say it's light shading. As you can see, unfortunately this probably isn't the best paper for this experiment, but the key point of this is more to get the colours down than to get a nice paper. So I'm not too worried about the bleeding here. I'm just going to give it another shake to get all those gold bits up as much as we can, and I'm going to go in with my paintbrush and just do the swatch. This is where you can really see that beautiful purple colour, and hopefully you'll be able to see the gold shimmer on this as well. I didn't realise how much the Archer and Olive paper wouldn't like fountain pen ink, I must admit. I was thinking this would work a little bit better, but I think it will still work quite well. I'm just going to get to the bottom and make sure I've got some gold in there. And as it's drying I can see that gold is starting to come through. So next we're going to do Aphrodite. You can see there's not any shimmer really, it's just a beautiful pink. And actually when I got this colour here, so this is Aphrodite. Oh, we've had a blob. This is why I don't like glass dip pens. This is by Levan. I probably loaded that too far, didn't I? The base is a coral pink. So as I was saying before my blob, there's no sheen. When I first got this one, there's no shimmer really, and the shading is medium because it does shade quite well. When I first got this Aphrodite colour, I actually emailed Levan because I wasn't that keen on the colour because I thought it was going to be much more of a blushy pink. As you can see, it's quite dark browny pink, so I emailed them and said, is this the right colour? And they said, oh yes, that's right. But now it's been something I've used quite often. It started to grow on me, and I will tell you why exactly. Not on this paper so much, but on the Hobonichi paper, I find this lightens and changes as it goes. And I don't mean within kind of a few minutes like the Queen Allium has done. I mean like in a year's time. So I've got entries that I've used this on in my 5-year diary from last year, and the colour difference now is much more like this blush peachy pink that I thought it was going to be than it is when you first write with it. So that's lovely, and I think that's a really nice aspect of this ink. Okay, so next up we're going to do this diamine ink called Aurora Borealis. So this is kind of a tealy blue, and this unfortunately is in a black bottle, but it is beautiful and it has a gorgeous sheen to it. And this is actually one of the inks that was chosen by Reddit. I'm not active on the Reddit fountain pen community, but if you chose this ink, thank you very much. It's absolutely beautiful. So this is Aurora Borealis. This is by Diamine. So it's teal. I would say it's no sheen, but the shimmer is like greeny. And I would say there's no shading. Okay, so let's get a little bit on the paintbrush. So this is one of the first inks that I bought actually. And I actually bought this to do Inktober with, not necessarily to write with, but just to do drawing with. And then I realised that actually this is a really nice writing ink, so there's not a massive amount of this left. If you regularly use the Archer and Olive notebooks, do you find that it's bleeding as much as this? I'm really quite disappointed with this bleeding, but there we go. Next, this is another diamine. This is Writer's Blood, and my husband got me this for Christmas. And this is kind of an oxbloody kind of colour. I don't think it has any shimmer in it, but I think this has a really, really subtle sheen, and I don't know if that's me making things up and doing things that aren't there, but oh, I've blobbed again. You can tell I'm really not very good at using these dip pens. If you have any tips for using these glass cut dip pens, please do let me know. But we're just going to embrace it at the moment. I think I'm probably putting too much on. Is that where I'm going wrong? I suspect that is. So I think this has a gold sheen, no shimmer, and no shading. But we'll review at the end and we'll see if my notes are correct. So that is that. This is potentially going to be one of my favourites to use in my 5-year diary. I've used it already. I used it a little bit at the start of the year. It's just such a classic colour. And on to the next one. So this is just a little pot, but this is one that I got for Mother's Day from my little boy. And this is Tumbling Time Blue by Ferris Wheel Press. Oh my gosh, this is stunning. I've already used this in my Hobonichi weeks. I've just put a little swatch down, and oh my god, I can't get over how pretty this blue is. So let's try and make sure we don't get any drips today. So this is Tumbling Time Blue. Oh god, you can already see the shimmer and the sheen coming through. Oh, I love it. It's so pretty. And I love the navy as well, because it's just so elegant, isn't it? So sheen is red, which we'll see much easier in a minute, and the shimmer is silver. And the shading is low. Okay, alright, I'm going to try and just get a little bit for this box because I really want to pull down and show you how beautiful this blue is without it being too dark, if that makes sense. Okay. And we can darken it up at the top to show off the shimmer. So let's put that right in there and get loads of that shimmer and sheen on there. I'll do a close-up of all the colours when I'm done. The other reason I really wanted to do this spread is because I really want to buy some more inks, and firstly, this is scratching the itch of buying more inks. As you remember in my Hobonichi Weeks notes pages, I'm trying my hardest to do a low buy year, and inks are on the list of ambers, you know, don't buy unless you really, really need to. As we can see, I really don't need to. But also, I really want to see what colours I have and what colours I'm missing. So I know already this is kind of the only tealy blue that I have, and teal is one of my favourite colours, but also I know that I don't need another purple because this is the only purple I have, and even though it's beautiful and I love it, I don't really use it that often because it's quite light. So next we're going to do Little Bob, which is a diamine ink by Cult Pens, and this is another one that was one of the first ones that I bought, and this is a gorgeous maroony pink. So I actually have Little Pip as well, but I haven't included it in this video. We got room for 10 spaces, so I'll just do 10. So the base of this is red, the sheen is green, the shimmer is gold, and this is a high shading ink. And Little Bob is one of those ones that, again, you'll really start to see the shimmer and the shading come through when you do the swatch, a little bit like Tumbling Time Blue and Queen Allium. Okay, okay. And this almost dries like a beetle-y kind of colour. Or maybe that's Little Pip, I think. Maybe. But yeah. But this is such a pretty pinky colour anyway. It's just gorgeous. So this is Wonderland in Coral from Ferris Wheel Press. Oh, I hope you can see all that shimmer and that sheen that's going on there. So this is more of a silver shimmer, but it's so pretty again. It's a kind of a corally gold colour. Absolutely stunning ink. I love this ink, but as you will see, not the best to write with. Wonderland in Coral, and Coral it certainly is. Wow, look at that for an orange ink. If you want an orange ink, you really can't go wrong with this. The sheen is gold and the shimmer is silver. This is quite a medium shading ink, I would say. But that is actually coming out a lot darker than it normally does in my fountain pen. And what I'll try and do at the end of this video, I won't be able to do it for Tumbling Time Blue or for the other newer Ferris Wheel Press ink that I have, but I'll try and show you a little bit of them written with my fountain pen rather than my dip pen, so that you can see what I mean about the colours. Oh, I think there's still a little bit of Little Bob on this paintbrush. Oops. So yeah, so you'll be able to see what I mean about how some of the colours just really don't lend themselves very well to being written with, which is a shame, because if you're using them as fountain pen inks, you know, you're buying them as fountain pen inks, that's what you want. These next three coming up are my absolute favourites. So this is Arabian Nights. Oh my god, can you see all of that shimmer in there? So we're going to have to give it a really good shake. It does settle really quickly as well, which I find slightly irritating, but it is worth it because this is beautiful. So this is another diamine, and this is a purple again, but it's kind of a really dark purple, so it's not like a lavender or a lilac like Queen Allium is. Diamine. Base is purple. Sheen is gold. Silver shimmer. This again is a medium shade, I would say. I actually think the shimmer in this is iridescent, not silver, but I'm fairly certain on the Diamine website they say the shimmer is silver, not iridescent, but I personally think it looks iridescent. So, I hope the lighting in here is okay. It's a drizzly day here in England. It's just a bit meh. So we've got another Laban here. This is Poseidon. This is an absolutely gorgeous green. They call it green. I think this is Tiffany box blue, personally. But it's so, so pretty. I was a bit of a sucker for the Laban mythology collection because I absolutely adore Greek mythology and I wanted to buy all of them, but apparently that is not allowed. But this is just a really lovely writing ink, and I use this one probably the most out of all of them in my 5-year diary because it's just so easy to use. It's beautiful colour, it looks really nice, it looks really pretty. It's a little bit unusual, but it just looks really good. Isn't that gorgeous? It's like the colour of the sea and cypress. It's so pretty. This is another Ferris wheel press in the little diddy bottle, and this is Song of Scarlet. This is another one that I got on Mother's Day. You can see at the bottom we've got some sheen in there, some shimmer. Let's give them a good shake. Pop him down there. Oh, oh, that's definitely going to drip if I'm not careful. Okay. So this is very similar to Little Bob, but it's slightly different in its base colour, I think, and in its sheen. The base of this is red, the sheen is yellow, the shimmer is blue, and it doesn't shade, apparently. You see that's very, very similar to Little Bob. And quite similar to Writer's Blood, but obviously this has loads of sheen, so that's why I'm drawing the comparison there between this and Little Bob, but not between Writer's Blood. I do have two other inks, so I do have Sea at Night, which is a Krishna ink, which is a really dark tealy blue with some kind of holographic-y, oil slicky shimmer in it. I must admit this isn't one of my favourite inks because I find the shimmer and the sheen doesn't really come through at all. And I do have Little Pip as well, which is, you'll see it in my Hobonichi later, but it's kind of a bluey colour. I'm going to show you a close-up of these here now, and I'm going to get my 5-year diary and my Hobonichi weeks and show you them on the Hobonichi paper too. Okay, so this is Queen Allium, and hopefully you're picking up that gold. There you go, there we go. So you can see it's a really nice light purple, and it's got this beautiful gold shimmer and sheen to it. This is it on the Hobonichi paper. So much less shimmer, much less sheen, and it's quite light in places as well. It's got loads of shading though. I don't know if you're picking up the sheen there, but you can kind of half see it. So Aphrodite, I've dripped on the name unfortunately, but this is Aphrodite by Laban. As you can see, No shimmer, no sheen really. Do excuse the top of the box, that is white out because I drew the box line in the wrong place. But yeah, no shimmer, no sheen, but quite heavy shading, which you can't really see in this, but there you go. So here I am. I've actually written in here about how I was a little bit disappointed when I started using this because it dries so much pinker than it swatches, and that I think is such a colour difference there between those two. I know this is quite a lot of ink down on the paper, but not different. But yeah, I do find with this one as well, when it's running out of the converter, it goes really light and it ends up all being kind of like that very light pink. So Aurora Borealis is next, and I think you can see how there's very limited shimmer in there. There is some shimmer, you can see it's kind of picking up a little bit of kind of texture. I don't know if you can see it, can you see the very light edges are quite almost purpley here? And that's what I wanted when I wrote with it, but it just doesn't seem to come through for me, unfortunately. It's just not very strong, which is quite disappointing. Here's Writer's Blood, this beautiful ox bloody colour, and if you remember, I put down different layers on this and it's dried one monotone colour, so absolutely no shading. Underneath my little Laban entry is where I've written in Oxblood, and that's where you can start to see that sheen. It's a little bit on the letters. It's really difficult to see though. Next, Tumbling Time Blue. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. As you can tell, I am a glitter girl. I love a bit of glitter, I love a bit of sheen, I love a bit of shimmer. It's meant to have a red sheen to it, but it's not picking up there. There you go. There you can see that sheen. Look at that. And the shimmer coming through beautifully in this little swatch down here. And I think I'm in love with this ink. I think Little Bob. See the slight sheen of gold there maybe? Compared to like Aphrodite, nothing there, and then a little bit on Little Bob, but again this paper really isn't the best for it. Can you see that sheen there? Isn't that beautiful? This is just me pouring my heart out about trying to breastfeed my baby. It was so hard. We had such a tough time to begin with, bless her. So Wonderland in Coral. You can see that silver kind of coming through there. But again, not a lot of sheen. And again, Wonderland in Coral is one of the ones that I said not great when you write with it. You don't get a lot of the sheen, you don't get a lot of the shimmer. It's not great. Arabian Nights. Oh, Be Still My Heart. I think this swatch is really not doing it any justice. Because this is like looking at the sky on a beautiful dark summer's evening. Here we go, this bottom one is Arabian Nights. Again, you can't really see the shimmer when you write it with it that well. I think you can see the glitter coming through, that shimmer and sheen so much better. It's really difficult on camera to show you some of these colours, but Poseidon, oh I smudged Poseidon a little bit, got a little bit overexcited with Poseidon, but you can kind of see the light shading there, and that tealy colour. And then finally, Song of Scarlet. I don't have this in my 5-year diary yet. Look at that. Blue sheen, shimmer coming through. I'm not seeing a lot of the yellow shimmer, but this is Song of Scarlet swatched in my Hobonichi. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you like this kind of content. If you haven't subscribed already, please, I would love to have you subscribe to my channel. Have a lovely day, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, bye bye.